Oh, this is sick. This is a pretty sweet setup. You need a better chair. We need to find you a cool little, like a
throne.
Yeah, the bishop's throne. That'd be sick.
Cool. Yeah,
man,
so
an old
over this podcast.
That'd be sick. We just hold medieval.
All right, who's
gear.
starting this thing? Is Ben the spokesperson? Since Amos is so dry and witless.
How do you start it? Is there like just a button? Boop.
I don't know.
Okay.
We've only been doing like 70 of these. So I don't know.
Hello.
We find it in the edit.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Christians Talking About Shit. CTOS, the episode, the podcast where we talk about it. I'm joined here with Amos, our host. How's it going today, Amos?
It's going all right.
Oh,
it's a day that happened.
It has been a cold, blistery week.
Give us the weather forecast.
Yeah.
Forecast. I think tonight it's still going to be in the freezing. Hopefully later on this week it'll warm up, and then I've heard rumors that it is supposed to drop back below freezing early next week, but we will see.
Do you find that invigorating?
The weather?
Yeah.
No.
A nice cold. Like it gives you energy.
No.
Charges you up.
No.
No?
No, you're crazy.
You like to bake in an oven? Like what?
I would gladly roll over and just forget the world and just stay in my bed if the electricity was on. But unfortunately, I've got the fireplace, so I've got to make sure and keep that lit. So I've got to get out every 2 hours.
Yeah, my whole house, electricity, everything. Water heater, the air conditioner, everything is. And it's just like, I'm completely at the whim of electricity. I hate it.
The dependency.
I'm completely dependent.
Well, everybody, welcome back, Rob.
Hello.
Rob is back on the podcast. We just had to get you back, man. We had too much fun on the last one, huh?
It was fun.
It was a blast. It was a blast.
All right, so what else has been going on?
Man.
Besides the weather? Ugh. Bethel? When we're talking about Bethel, what's going on there, man?
Yeah, you're
is that
drumming up the drama?
I'm drumming up the drama?
I guess. I know nothing.
You're spilling the tea.
Oh, well, just we'll definitely get to Bethel. We'll get to Bethel.
Okay.
For the format of this for this episode, we decided let's pick a topic and let's talk about it, right?
Oh, we were gonna try to make it look like it was like it organically happened.
Nah. our fans,
we texted beforehand.
Yeah,
and talked about
our fans know us too well. If we're gonna do something like that, yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and let them in on the joke. So this episode's topic is music. Dun dun dun. Music.
Yeah. All music,
which I love.
Do you?
Yeah.
See.
Meh.
Okay. All right.
It depends. Like I have my list of stuff that I listen to when I'm writing or whatever, but like in general, I wouldn't call myself an audiophile.
See, my brother Jake, I have two younger brothers. My middle brother Jacob's the same way. Like music is kind of a take it or leave it for him. Like okay, like
it's a mood setter,
which is weird probably for you and I, because I mean, like I think I let music probably define my entire teenage years, which probably wasn't a good thing, but
so
that's how much I love music.
How does it define your teenage years?
I feel like my whole identity was in what kind of music I was listening to. So I remember distinctly too, like kind of when it happened. I was 12 years old and I was watching Fuse TV.
Okay, yeah.
And Good Charlotte's the anthem song.
This is the anthem.
Throw all your hands up. I saw the music video for it, and I just saw all these dudes like rocking guitars, covered in tattoos and black band T-shirts. They had spiky hair, like mohawks, the whole nine. Like, and I remember just being 12 years old watching it. Like
these guys.
I mean, it was just an overwhelm, like everything, the music, the aesthetic, and I was like, I want to be that. And then so from there to like, it probably was like this mine up to this point, but like wanting to like, I mean, I think I learned guitar just because of that. Like I was in bands because of it. The music I listened to, the music I didn't listen to, probably had everything to do with like that defining moment. So Good Charlotte, if you ever watch Christians Talking About Shit podcast, You were the defining moment for me musically.
Yeah. It was definitely probably right around the same age, I think, for me.
What was it?
When it was like the emo pop punk.
Yeah.
But really though, the Christian music scene, because my parents were so dead set on me not being demonized by music, I guess. I don't know what you would call that. Corrupted. Yes. Thank you.
Like we weren't even allowed to listen to like country or oldies.
Oh, oldies too?
No.
Yeah. Like what are we talking oldies?
60s.
Really?
Yeah, like Elvis or
shaking his
Beatles
hips.
Yeah.
Someone told me he had hip dysplasia. That's all it was. We thought it was a dance. He was all like, my hips hurt.
No, but my dad at the time was a youth pastor.
Okay.
And so I grew up with him, ministering to these older than me youths. And they would, I remember one time they had a youth get together and they were encouraged to bring all their secular music and they were going to have a bonfire. And like he had the garage full, I'm talking full of plastic bags full of CDs. And so I'm young and just bored at home and I'm digging through there and I find a Marilyn Manson CD.
Oh no.
And
he was the
and I'm like, oh,
he was the
what is this? What is this? And so from then on, I don't even think I listened to it. I just probably saw the cover art and I was like, oh,
and that was enough too.
What was this?
It corrupt you.
Yeah, yeah, it did. Maybe it did. And so we would go to like a Christian bookstore and they would sell CDs there. And
so to clarify though, they were burning CDs.
Like that's why he had them.
Yeah,
they were
like
burning
like
the CDs.
So instead of like a book burning, it was a CD burning.
CD burning.
Yeah,
real Ephesus situation.
It's not about spreading
Bring
the
all your
CDs and
pagans.
what's on them.
Right. No.
Pirating. It wasn't pirating.
No, not burning. Not burning. Yeah. Yeah.
If the kids nowadays know what burning
your dad just wanted a good mixed CD.
Y'all bring over your CDs. I'll make a mixtape.
Yeah, I need to make a mixtape.
Yeah. They were gonna, I think they eventually
He's like,
did burn them.
my summer 2020 or 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, it was earlier than that. That had to have been the 90s.
Really? Okay, so that you were you were in first wave emo.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, for me, I was right there, 2003 to 2006. But apparently that was like the quote unquote golden age of emo.
Golden age, yeah.
That was like all the cool,
like the My Chemical Romance.
Yeah, like My Chemical Romance, Taking Back Sunday, pretty much anything on Silverstein, Hawthorne Heights. Like that's when screaming kind of became
Screamo.
Screaming became more mainstream, which I loved all of it.
So would y'all consider yourself angsty?
Absolutely. I mean, one of my favorite albums was a band called From First to Last, and the album was called I think it says it was something like My Teenage Angst. Something or something. I was totally angsty, man. I was an emo kid.
What is angsty?
Just like I think even just the lyrics about just you're feeling your feels, man. All your emotions for girls, emotions for life, emotions for your parents.
You ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
You ready? Angsty describes a state of intense, brooding, or emotional distress, often characterized by anxiety, cynicism, sullenness, or frequently associated with adolescence or moody, introspective creative works.
I think you just defined emo music.
Yeah.
Are we sure I'm not the angsty one?
You are very angsty. That's what's so crazy.
Just don't put off that persona.
Yeah.
So what kind of music do you listen to then? Since if it's not such a central thing to you.
It's like AAA or like what's the triple? Not AAA. That's games.
EA Sports.
No. Indie, like indie alternative. It's all over. It's honestly all over the place.
Yeah.
There will be
name a few
like Eminem
bands.
to God, I don't even know.
Yeah, but you like some
Ellie Goulding sometimes.
Some folk music sometime.
What kind of folk? Like Mumford and Sons
Yes,
folk?
I should just pull out my Spotify
Yeah.
and just name some
Let's
things
see.
since my memory sucks.
Spotify. So here's another thing. So I do not like Spotify. I've never liked music streaming services. Like in my mind, if I don't, kind of like how people like want to own CDs or like the albums.
Right.
I'm the same way on my all the music I have.
But you got an iPhone.
But all
so
my
it's
music
all
is
iTunes.
I bought it though. I Like the album is $9.99. I click it.
Okay.
And it drives my wife insane. She's like, why don't you just listen on Spotify? You can pay a one-time fee. And I'm like, that's not the same. It's not my music. I'm having to borrow it from somebody.
Yes, I agree. However, you're still locked in. Don't get me on this Apple Android.
No, I get it.
You're still locked in. They're still gonna, they still own it.
My wife and I,
to a certain degree,
read a bunch of manga, and she's in a big she likes more like slice of life kind of ones.
So you read right to left.
I do. I read from right to left. It's so funny because she sent me a comic today, like it was making fun of Pride and Prejudice, and I had to reorient myself because I had to
read it.
Yeah. I was like, what?
That's
I was like,
funny.
I don't get it. I was like, oh, hold on, yeah. But anyways, one she was reading, A Sign of Affection. It's about a deaf girl who falls in love with a guy.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really good. But anyways, one of the guy's friends is a big audiophile. What'd you say? Yeah,
audiophile.
An audiophile. And it's so funny because it takes place like now, like 2020s, and he has a CD collection, and that's like, whoa, like CDs.
Oh yeah. I had the CD folder.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just saying, like, for us it was like records, but now it's like to be a hipster is to have CDs.
We, like, me and my brother-in-law, we bought before he was my brother-in-law. We bought like a pack of 500 CDs on eBay, somebody's collection. Started sorting through all of it, and like, I had a period where I was kind of into it. But.
Okay, yeah.
And then I knew people who like deleted all their music because, like, a lot of CD burnings, they just deleted everything on their iPod, and then they re-downloaded it all later. And I'm like, what was the point of that?
Yeah,
yeah. I used to be big into burning it onto the computer, and then this was before you still had to go through and rename all your tracks. And you had to name the albums and sorting it. And like, for whatever reason, I got a kick out of doing that. And like making sure they were, because you know what it was? I had a little MP3 player, and it would display them. You could pull them and put them on the MP3 player and display the names of the albums. And and so that's what it was. Because they didn't have the technology back then to automatically pull that information to scan it, right?
Yeah. It could be like, I had a cheap little MP3 player from like Walmart. And I say cheap, it was probably really expensive back then, but cheap compared to now. But anyways, but like I remember, I would like burn stuff off. I forget what, not Bandcamp. There was a website where bands could just put their EPs, anything for free. Like you can just download their music because they just want all the attention. And so I would get music.
SoundCloud?
It might have been SoundCloud, but whatever it was, I would download music from there from bands I was listening to. That was another thing too. I went through a really annoying like listening to bands that no one knew. It was like super niche, and so like people were like, "What do you listen to?"
Like for the intent purpose.
I think so. Looking back now was totally to be obnoxious. But it was like, it's like,
what do you mean you've never heard of this?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what do you listen to? It's like Sky's Airplane. You probably never heard of them. It's like, what?
Very Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, it was very dumb. But you could download the music for free. But I remember you download the files and you could just name the files whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
Like, and so like, it would just show up on your MP3 player as doo-doo stains.
Well, it became a problem though, because when Napster took over, when you could actually like go online, LimeWire, BearShare, all these different, websites and
download viruses.
Yeah.
Well, you would search for them. You would search for them. You would
for
download.
Viruses?
No. You would search for the song. You would download it all night because it was dial-up. It would take forever.
Okay.
You would set it before you went to bed. You would wake up in the next morning. Oh, great. My new whatever,
Yeah.
5 kilobytes a second.
Yeah. And you would play it, and it was not what you downloaded.
It was, you got rickrolled?
Yes.
Never gonna get it.
Yes. It was horrible.
Man. No, I was second generation wave. So like I didn't get my first laptop until I joined the Navy. So this was 2010. And so I've already missed a few years of the internet at this point. But I remember I had a friend, and he showed me the Pirate Bay.
Oh yeah,
man.
It's still up and running.
I'll tell you. So I downloaded all my music, all my movies. I downloaded everything from there. And I remember I got a letter in the mail from Paramount Pictures. Randomly. Yeah. It was like, you illegally downloaded Anchorman. Pretty much a cease and desist. Like if
they got you.
They did. They got me, man. And I never pirated anything ever since then.
Yeah,
that was it. Scared me straight. Yeah, man. That was the guy in prison yelling at me.
What was the threat?
I can't remember. I just remember seeing the logo and saying, "You stole this. Do it again, and we will proceed. Whatever. Like we'll pursue you and for legal matters." Blah blah blah.
I was brainwashed. I grew up in the VHS era where it had that warning plastered, and you couldn't really fast forward it. You just let it play.
Yeah, I remember talking about the FBI warning.
Yeah, that one. Warning, yeah. And I read it, and it was like, oh, those guys are going to get in trouble for distributing it. I'm not necessarily going to be in trouble for.
Someone told me like
purchasing it.
The reason I let myself do it for so long. Someone was trying. I was like, isn't this stealing? And someone explained it to me. They're like, no. Pirating is like, picture you have someone has a brand new car in their driveway, and then you take that car, and then the next morning they walk out and their car is still there. They're like, that's pirating. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, like you got the car, but they also
car, would you?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
There's a whole commercial.
About that.
Yeah. Oh, was there? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I never saw.
You wouldn't steal a car.
You wouldn't copy a house, would you?
I absolutely would copy a house.
Yeah, if you were able to consume it without actually taking it from the other person. That's the thing about it. It's like they still have it.
Yeah.
There's no intellectual property rights in the Bible.
Ooh.
What do you mean there's no intellectual, like, what do you mean?
The concept of owning an idea does not exist in the Mosaic Law.
Oh, okay.
I know, but I would almost take that to say, was there even the idea of?
Does it matter? Like,
I mean, theologically speaking, there is, everything has its terminus in God himself. There is no quote unquote original idea, if we're going to be really real about it. Like
there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing new, and especially if everything, like even like talking about stories, like every great story, great archetype, whatever it is, ultimately, genuinely, you pull enough layers back, it comes from the story of God. The entire, it genuinely does. As obnoxious as people would hate to think that, like every idea and every story, everything good and true and beautiful comes from the Bible, and that's just what it is, and that's okay. If as soon as we accept that, we can get over the whole.
I would say it's embedded in human nature.
Sure.
Since God created us, by proxy, He created it.
Yeah, I can go with that.
But
just make sure I'm
so what's the argument there that there's no intellectual copyright?
Yeah, there's no concept of like you can steal, like if you steal someone's cloak, their clothes, their animal, their wife, you can steal physical objects and people. But you can't steal an idea, a thing. Because
Jethro made a better wheel and you started making a better wheel.
Yeah, like think about like
because you saw it.
Like patent law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
God, there's no sacrifice for stealing patent laws.
Exactly. Like how would you pay back that wheel you replicated?
Yeah. See, you need to save this for our mini series.
Oh, actually, sorry.
We're gonna produce Wildworks Films production. We're gonna produce a mini series of a historical judge. It's a detective series.
Oh, that's kind of sick.
And yes.
We are.
It's gonna be it's gonna be in old Israel times, and I think that would line in great with that.
But they don't even have the concept.
But I'm saying, yeah, he has to struggle with that.
Now.
He has to struggle with that concept of two upset people. The fact that one stole another's idea, and what does he do about it based on the Mosaic Law?
I was going to bring this up, talking about now. It's kind of funny bringing up like stealing and stuff like that. I'm not gonna say God steals things, but there is this kind of cool. I was thinking about music in general. At the beginning, when after Cain kills Abel. And then God curses him, sends him out, and then it goes down Cain's line for a bit, right? So the seed of the serpent, Cain's line, and then you get to one of his grandsons. Let's see here, Jubal. Yeah, his brother's name was Jubal. He was the first of all who played the lyre and the flute, and then Tubal-Cain, who made like bronze and iron tools and stuff. But so you have Jubal, a son of Cain, right? So a son of Satan, right? If the theology.
What do you mean by the line of the serpent?
So when God after Adam and Eve fall, and then God makes the first gospel proclamation, right? I will put enmity between your seed, the serpent, and the woman's seed. You will bruise his heel. He will crush your head. Immediately you see Mary. Eve has two children. Immediately she has Cain and Abel. Two sons, one is holy and righteous, and one is not, and one kills. And so there's this the seed theology that there are now two family lines happening here. You have the son of the woman, and you have the seed of the woman. You have the seed of Satan, essence, see,
literally,
not literally, but
Okay.
like I say, a theological thing.
I've known people
that-
who believe it literally.
Yes, I've seen the I saw it's in Shreveport. There's a big billboard saying what really happened in the garden.
I think the Mormons had to step back, and they believed that the curse of Cain, and there was some racial ties to that.
Oh yeah,
and they had to step that back a couple of years back because they were like, I don't know if we believe this anymore.
Racial ties.
Yeah.
Like how so?
That being the mark that Cain received was black skin.
Oh.
Yeah, so that all black people were.
Yeah, but that doesn't fit with the flood.
No, it doesn't, but it didn't stop Joseph Smith. So I'm saying.
Anyways,
well,
what stopped Joseph Smith? An execution. That's what stopped him.
That's exactly.
Before we go down this way,
No offense.
that is also believing that there were no other human beings out there, that Cain was going to another city that was pre-existing.
Well, he built the city, but where did he get the wife from?
I'm guessing the original view that all Adam and Eve's children were, that they had enough. They just happened to have enough children that Cain ended up marrying one.
And they
of them.
just
they
most definitely.
I think
they bang each other.
I think you can't get away from incest in the Bible.
Oh, really?
So what about when you get to the law and incest is a death penalty?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think there comes a point now. I think there comes a point in the law where
I hope you know I'm not trying to like pigeonhole you.
No. This is just what I think. I think if you're gonna, I feel, okay, I'm not saying people who don't hold to this don't take the Bible seriously, but like I feel like, right, the Bible is going to present uncomfortable things, and we have to be okay with that. Just because it's uncomfortable doesn't make it not true. And so for me, if I'm assuming that Adam and Eve are the first humans that God created, and then from them the entire human race came from, I feel like that's the only way you can make sense of the theology of original sin and all that stuff. If there were other people going around, then how can they inherit Adam's sinfulness? Anyways, so I think incest is inescapable. But I think obviously there comes a point when God chooses Israel to be a distinct nation going into a distinct land, and they are to be different, right? They're to be a holy priesthood, to be a witness and a light to the pagan nations around them. That's when the law is implemented, saying you will not commit incest. You won't sleep with your sister. You won't sleep with your cousin.
You won't do as the heathen.
Yeah, you won't do as they. Yeah, they do. Yeah, this is normal. Yeah, this is normal. Like you are now to stand out from this, and part of that is we don't do that anymore. Anyways, well, we're going away from what I was trying to get with the whole Jubal thing. Yeah, the loot and the lie. So I think it's cool that you have unbelievers making instruments, and then God's going to take those and say, actually, now I'm going to use that for my good, my glory, and God's people will now get to use it. I just think it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah,
it's like,
that is very
who made
cool.
it? Who made instruments?
Yeah, redeeming that. Yeah, and I would propose that that technology that Jubal created,
wind instruments,
if you know. Oh, you think it was like a Zelda flute?
Said the flute and the lyre. That's a wind instrument.
I would propose that was fallen angel technology that was passed along.
Okay. See, where do you get that from, though?
Yeah.
Book of Enoch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
did man come up with anything on their own?
I've never read the Book of Enoch. Does it say that instruments came from angels?
That there were different principalities,
okay,
fallen angels that were in charge of the nations of men.
Okay.
And they took wives among the humans, if you will, created Nephilim.
Okay.
And in trade, they traded certain ones traded technologies such as smoldering iron, such as that. There was other ones that could learn how to mix chemicals, where you have your apothecaries and things of that technologies. Very interesting book. Encourage you to read it, and then
definitely answers.
Then go back to the whole idea of, is God okay with incest? And I just want to say I don't think he was.
Okay. But you're completely basing that off of the Book of Enoch as to why you think God's not okay with it.
With incest?
Yeah.
It's based on my belief that there were other humans outside of the garden.
But that belief comes from
the Book of Enoch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I think there were other humans as well. I think there's two creations in Genesis 1 and 2. I think there's created man and there's created Adam and Eve. I don't necessarily agree about the Book of Enoch.
Yeah.
I don't quite buy it.
Okay.
And I can understand your side because of the two creations. I don't think that's what's happened. I don't think there are two creations.
Here's the other thing is I don't believe in original sin either.
Oh, okay. Well,
I do believe all have sinned and come short of the glory of God, and we all sin after the similitude of Adam.
But you don't think but you don't think we actually have inherited something from Adam?
Well, through Adam, death entered the world.
Okay. So how do you define original sin then? Because that sounds like what you said. I feel like you just defined it original sin
by death entering the world
through Adam. Death, right? Through Adam, all have sinned.
No, I said we've all sinned after the similitude of Adam.
Okay.
Meaning I think that means we all choose to sin for the first time.
Okay.
Because all have sinned and come short of the glory of God.
Okay. Okay. So is that so? Okay. So
but I do believe that we seek out our evil inventions from our youth.
Okay.
And that children are innocent.
Okay. So you think children are innocent until they sin?
They choose to sin.
Okay. Yeah. When does that happen? Because some
it varies.
Some can
awakening.
The age of accountability.
I'll say some can argue that as soon as a baby cries just because it wants to be held.
Yeah, and I think running on biology, I don't know. Like that's not really for us to judge. And I could be wrong about all this too.
Yeah.
I'll gladly say that.
I agree.
But back to the incest thing, I don't think God would implement a law because he's consistent. He doesn't change. I don't think he would implement a law that's a death penalty, that's an abomination that the heathens do, but then require us to do it in order to procreate.
So then, okay, if that's the case, then do you think it's okay to have multiple marriages?
That's different. That's not a death penalty.
Okay.
And I think it's probably best practice not to.
I mean, I would agree. I think all of our wives would agree with that.
You look at David had 10 wives. Solomon had a bunch of wives. Israel was founded by a guy who had 2 wives.
I think that was an understatement that Solomon had a lot of wives.
Israel's founded on, actually 4, because you have Rachel, Leah, and then Bilhah and Zillah.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate, but then I don't think that Abraham and Sarah were actually siblings. I think that was just a total lie.
You think it's just a lie?
I think it's just a straight up lie.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, and I've gotten into this with my dad before, where he's like, "Oh, Abraham wouldn't lie." I'm like, but he'd marry his sister.
Yeah.
Which is worse? Which is worse?
Yeah. Well, so he lied. What do you mean he wouldn't lie? He lied to.
He did.
He lied twice.
I know.
Yeah. So yes, case in point, he could lie.
Yeah.
Can Christians lie?
Depends on what you mean by lie. Define lie.
Well, okay. Well, what I'm getting at is there such thing as a category as righteous deception?
So, would you look at the law, which is thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor?
Yeah,
that is like a court legal situation where you're actually going in and saying my neighbor stole from me.
Yeah.
Versus a white lie doesn't fall into that category. Now, Solomon says it's best to abstain from all forms of lying.
Sure. I'm talking about okay, so here's the quote unquote
best
conundrum.
Practices,
Rahab.
best practices versus
Rahab lied to the people of Jericho to protect. Did she sin in doing that?
I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't either. Yeah. That's the thing. I think in theology, there's a category called righteous deception. There's such a thing as lying for the betterment of God's people. Like the midwives lied to Pharaoh about Moses. And they're like, well, all the boys, well, they can't help it. These women are strong.
In the book of Maccabees, they got slaughtered because they wouldn't fight on the Sabbath day. I think it's the Romans. The Romans attacked them on the Sabbath day. They're like, we're not going to fight. They got a bunch of them killed. And then the next time it happened, all right, we're going to fight. Because our ox is kind of in the ditch on this one. If they're come and murder us, we have to be able to fight back.
Yeah. I do really like your point, though. I don't want to take anything away from your point, though, that God throughout the scripture is taking things and redeeming them.
Absolutely.
Such as the flute and the lyre.
Yeah, like to take things that I'm just from my point of view, right, that Jubal is not a believer, right? Cain's line up to this point, because I think there's a whole argument happening there. You're seeing, okay, Cain kills Abel, and then his sons continue down, and then it's exactly 7 generations to get to Lamech, and Lamech takes 2 wives, and he like boasts himself. Cain was avenged. I shall be avenged 7 times. Like, and so I think then immediately Seth is born, and it says immediately the people called upon the Lord. So then you're seeing the redemption, Seth's line, right? The seed of the woman is continue on. Anyways, but for God to reach into this,
not chronologically. Do you mean just like in order?
In order of the Bible, that Seth is right, because it was right. Cain and Abel. Abel's the son. If we're going to seed theology, Abel's the son of the woman. Cain's the seed of Satan. Abel's dead now, and Satan's line continues on, and then it says that Adam and Eve were intimate again, and they had Seth, and then people began to call upon the name of Yahweh.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because
it uses the word intimate.
Whatever it says.
in that line though, you have
he knew his wife.
He knew his wife in the biblical sense.
You have a good Enoch and a bad Enoch.
Yeah,
in that same line. Very, very interesting.
See, that's so funny. You bring that up. Totally off topic, but I brought him up in the last episode we did. James B. Jordan. He's a fantastic theologian, worth looking up. But he would when you see things like that in the Bible, sometimes we're quick to just glaze over that. But like, okay, it just happened to be two people named Enoch. Jim Jordan has this great quote where he says that the Holy Spirit never wastes his breath.
Yeah.
If there are two Enochs in a line especially within like a chapter of each other, there's a reason that God's doing that. Now, what it is, I don't know, but it's something. There's a reason for you to look at.
Probably not.
No, I don't think so. I think it's different. I think it's different.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things where like you hear the name twice, especially if you think about the writing of scripture in general, right? They did not have a plethora of paper like we do now. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you're going to write down, you had to make it count. Now, I'll say this is all in the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. But yeah, there are, your dad and that guy talked about in their episode, talking about like codes and stuff, and like how God, uses patterns and all that kind of stuff in the writing of scripture. I think there's really something to that. You see that like in like chiasms and like there's all kinds of like structures that are happening in the Bible, and it's twofold. One, God designed it that way because God is ordaining that by His Spirit. But two, from the writer's point of view, I'm writing all this down on paper or vellum, which is wicked expensive. This is not cheap.
You gotta kill a few lambs.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta slaughter a bunch of animals to make this happen. And so whatever I'm gonna write down, I'm gonna make sure it counts. So that's why when you see something like two Enochs, there's a reason they did it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's to make you, as you're reading it, as the reader, pause, like, wait a minute, another Enoch, what's that all about? I don't know what it is, but I'm saying like it's not just like there are no just coincidences. Like, oh, that's a curious. That seems like, even like I was reading Daniel yesterday to the kids, and just the obvious similarities of Daniel to Joseph, right? He taken out of the land, you're in this place, God gives you prominence, and then you end up becoming practically second in command. Joseph was second in command in Egypt. Daniel's second in command in Babylon. There's something that's happening there, and the most obvious on the nose is, oh, I see. Daniel is a second Joseph. God's people are in exile again. Babylon is a form of Egypt. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. Those are the kind of connections that are trying to make you make. It's not just like, oh, that's curious. Yeah, wow, Daniel just happened to be in charge like Joseph. That's cool. Like, no, like there's something happening here.
Yeah, there's definitely something happening there. Famous figures in the Bible that played music. David.
The sons of Korah. Or is it Korah? Not Korah. It's in the Kings.
Avatar Last Bender? What are you talking about? Last Airbender?
Last Airbender. We just finished that actually, man.
Korah?
Dude, if you haven't seen Avatar The Last Airbender, you have no one to blame but yourself. But man, when he meets the lion turtle and he gives him that's such a sick scene, man. Someone's like, lion turtle, what?
I've seen bits and pieces from the kids watching it, but I've never actually had the time to sit down and like.
It's a really long show. The kids were watching it, and like I feel like I would come in and out as I was doing stuff, and I'm like, you're still watching it? Like
100 episodes. I mean, it's 5 seasons, right?
It's
24 episodes per season.
It's 3 because it's based off of books. It's like book 1's water, book 2's earth, book 3's fire, and book 3's the last one. But it's a lot. But it's like, man, like how much can happen and apparently at the end of it, the whole thing happened in a year, which is crazy. Like as far like timeline wise of the show.
Yeah. Secret tunnel.
Okay, back to music. So
can music? Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
I was gonna say, can music be inherently evil or ungodly? Not based on the contents of the lyrics, but based on the style.
Oh, like the instrumentality,
the instruments,
or the
drums,
frequency,
like the downbeat,
or the frequency of it.
Because when we were kids, the reason we couldn't listen to rock because it had drums, it had the downbeat in it.
The downbeat, is that the argument that would be made?
That was the argument that was made.
Wow.
Maybe that's why I'm so like about music, because we were so hammered hard about it when we were kids. I don't know.
The down, like what do you mean by the downbeat? If it has a time signature, it has a downbeat.
I think it came from someone who didn't understand music, who said this, who probably latched onto the term downbeat.
Yeah.
And was like, ooh, downbeat.
Okay.
Downbeats go to hell, upbeats go to heaven.
So for me to be consistent, to answer your question, for me to be consistent here recently in the last couple of years, I would have to say potentially yes. That I used to be of the whole, like, you know, music can be it's just a neutral thing, and it's just, what your intent and all it is. But I don't think neutrality exists. I don't think there's such a thing as neutrality in general.
Music makes you feel things.
Sure. I think it makes you feel things, but I'm saying for me, like, starting from a principle that there's no such thing as neutrality, then if that's the case, then I'd have to say that music itself is not neutral. Now, what makes it lean in a good or bad way? I don't know. I don't know if it's the lyrics. I don't know if I don't know if it's the downbeat.
The intent behind it.
Yeah, maybe.
When it's being created, the intent behind it.
But see, that's such a squirrely thing.
Christian death metal.
Yeah.
You're into that.
I am into that.
You bring up a great point.
Impending Doom, man. Such a good album, or such a good band.
Yeah, and so
I had an album in my head.
So who was it over Christmas that did a rendition of?
That was
Emmanuel.
I wouldn't call that a Christian death metal band. That was Skillet.
Of course not. It was Skillet.
Which I have a funny story about Skillet. Give a second.
So Skillet, right before Christmas, they did their own rendition of Emmanuel.
I thought it ruled.
And it starts off really melodic. It's the lead singer and his wife. And they wrote it. Obviously, they didn't write the lyrics, but they wrote the music to it. Really beautiful. And then it just goes hard, just breaks down hard. And everyone
lost their mind.
Everyone lost their minds. Like, this is of Satan. Da, da, da.
You know what's so crazy about that, man, is that someone told me, I saw a meme about this. This is back in 2020. And the meme was, if you had told me in 2019 that the only conservative Christian band in 2020 was going to be Skillet, I would have laughed in your face. Because that's the thing. Every other band, when woke, like when George Floyd, like all that crazy stuff happened, all of them were like, you know, posting their black squares on their Instagrams. They're just going with the crowd, going with the thing. And Skillet was the only band that just said, we're not changing who we are. We're Christians. We just write Christian music. Like we're not placating to anybody. We're not indulging it. Like we're just being us. And it actually, I feel like it really worked out for them. They became really popular. But then just to see the script flipped on them so quick.
Yeah,
like they were praised for being this band that just like stalwart, didn't change anything, didn't go woke, didn't go gay, didn't do anything, and then to be like, oh, you worship Satan because you screamed during "O Come Emmanuel."
Right.
You know, "O Come Emmanuel." I love the song when you actually use all the lyrics, because most Christian bands or Christian artists, whatever, do not use all the lyrics in it. Which is fine, because there are a lot. There's like 7 or 8. But they always end up taking out the second or third verse. I forget which one it is. And it is the dopest lyric, I think, of the entire song, because it refers to Jesus as the God of Sinai. It says, O come, O God of might, who once did on Sinai's flight, or something on Sinai's flight, at once did give the law to Israel. Like, referring to Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us. You are the one who brought Israel to Sinai and gave them the law. Like, I think that's such deep, heavy Christology. It is a no-nonsense, Jesus is the God of the Bible. And no one puts it in. It is such a... I butchered the lyrics, but it's so good, man.
When was that song written?
It's old. It's like 600s, 700s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's the...
So before Christmas.
It's before Christmas. It was written in Latin. The Latin version's sick too. Veni Veni Emmanuel.
8th or 9th century.
Yeah, there we go. I was close.
Some Gregorian chant.
Yeah, it's like Veni.
Yeah, see, and I would say modern Christians probably would even hear that and not even know the context and say, "Oh, that's demonic too." They're summoning the.
Yeah, exactly. See, and that's so funny. It just depends where you're at, because they're probably the Christians who originally wrote it would listen to the fact that it's being sung in any language besides Latin and would say like, El Diablo.
If they were Catholic, certainly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely. Well, 8th, 9th. So the split hadn't happened yet. So, but yes, what we would consider very Catholic looking.
I mean, up until 500, they were burning people for writing English.
Yeah.
Oh man, Bible in English.
Speaking of English, I read a really cool book when I was in Nevada. It was The White Horse King: The Life of King Alfred, the Christian Saxon king, who pretty much began to redeem England from the Danes, from the Vikings, and King Alfred is based, man. Like, he was an amazing king. He was a godly Christian king. Yeah, that one right there. I read that. It was so good. But anyways, he lived during the mid to end of the 800s, and I think he died before. I think like I forget when he died. But anyways, he had a lot of the Psalms translated into English for the, because he grew up in his childhood memorizing the Psalms with his mom and his dad and stuff. And so it was a big, huge part of his life. And especially because there comes a point where he ends up getting chased out of Sussex, out of Wessex, his kingdom. And so he's pretty much like King David, like living on the run. And the Psalms became he became very intimate with them, because, I mean, it was he had the same life story as David pretty much. And so once he got rid of the Danes, got rid of the Vikings, and he started like really like pushing Christian education on his people, because he realized our people are really ignorant. He thought the whole reason all the Vikings came was God's judgment on us, because we are an ignorant people and we don't know God, we don't know His word. And so, anyways, he started translating the Bible essence into the English, or whatever the English language would have been then. So whatever Sax then.
Yield English.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, very yielding. But I mean, he was doing something that was very much frowned, was like, you don't do that at all. And he did end up getting flack for it. But during the Reformation, the English people, once it became a Protestant nation, they discovered that King Alfred had been doing this, in the 800s, and this is the 1500s now. And so they were like, look at the English people, man. We've been translating the Bible in English from the jump. And so that was kind of like they're like, because, it was like, why should the Bible be translated in other languages? Like, well, it's not like it's the first time we're doing it. Look, King Alfred did it. And so, anyways, White Horse King. It's a really sick book. And King Alfred was a
I didn't know
dope king.
That he was the only English monarch that they called the Great.
Yeah, he's the only one they called
Alfred
the Great. Alfred the Great. No other king has had the title. Yeah, super sick book.
Richard the Lionheart.
What year was it?
That was in the 9th century.
Yeah, 849 to 899.
So it was before the Normans.
Probably, yeah.
Before
I think
William
so,
the Conqueror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of disrupted everything that Alfred did.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because you're like, oh man, because Alfred, people will like say, oh, Alfred got rid of all the Vikings. Technically he didn't. It was his grandson that did. But he began pushing all the Danes out, and then began accumulating what became all of England. But anyways, it was his grandson Edward that finally kind of finished the job, and then they were gone for a few hundred years. But then
the Normans are
they came
Vikings
back.
again.
Vikings came back again, and totally took over everything.
French Vikings.
Now I got to ask you: are you physically reading this book? Or are you audiobooking it?
No, physically. Yeah.
Okay.
I am not.
Touché.
Nothing against people who listen to audiobooks. I listen to audiobooks with my kids, especially the Harry Potter. They're redoing all of them right now with a full cast, background sounds. Like, it's so cool. But yeah, I'm very much a old school, like, pick a book up and read it. Like, I remember when the Kindle came out. Remember the whole commercial was the guy holding the Kindle and the guy holding the book, and the whole thing was like to make an argument for the Kindle. The guy's like, but you can't hold the book and you can't bend the page, and it's supposed to be like, that's lame. But I was like, yeah, but I was like, dude, that's a perfect, like, I was like, that's a perfect reason to
paper?
Read. Yeah, I was like, that's a perfect reason to read books. But yeah, I physically read it. Like, I had the physical book in my hand in my hotel room.
I might have to borrow that from you.
So did you read the book if you listened to it?
I think you ingest it, but I wouldn't say you read it.
I've heard from, speech therapists talk about how you retain like so much more if you like listen to it and read it at the same time.
Okay.
See, I get higher comprehension from listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone's different.
The beauty.
I've listened to a lot of books.
Bring it to the Bible.
More than I've read.
Bring it to the Bible. I personally, even though I do love it, I'm glad we have the Bible and we can physically read it. I think God designed the Bible to be listened to and not necessarily to be read.
I like that idea.
Yeah, because
that's what they did back in the day.
Yeah, I was like,
and someone would read it.
Yeah, there would be a scribe. There would be someone who could read it. But like, I mean, that was a
also goes
higher
back
job.
to the value of paper.
Exactly.
Books.
Yeah, not everyone can have one, and so
nor can they read.
No, but that's my thing. Is I think like like having the Bible has been, obviously it's a wonderful blessing that God allows us to have it, where we can have bookshelves full of different Bibles and all that kind of stuff. But I think it actually has, I think, hindered us in some sense, because of the irony that we have so many Bibles on our shelves, yet we barely read it as much as we probably could. But I think it's taken away the fact, something beautiful that happens on the Lord's Day. Think about it. If you and I lived let's just go before the Reformation, right? 5 years before the Reformation kind of kicked off. The only Bible you and I would have ever gotten was on the Lord's Day. We would have came. It probably would have been Latin. But let's say it wasn't Latin. Let's say we were all good students and we all could listen to Latin. The Bible intake we got would have been on that day. And guess what? It would have been enough for you to sustain you throughout the entire week. You would have meditated on it. You would have thought on it. It would have been more than enough. And so I think obviously, like I said, God has blessed us. We can read the Bible whenever we want to now. And that's wonderful. But I think don't let that take away the importance of what happens on the Lord's Day. Like whatever, like think about it, really genuinely. Let's say whatever your pastor preached out of, what if you just generally just meditate on that passage all week? Mm-hmm. And we do have the Bible, and let's say that's all you did that week. I'm just going to reread the passage that pastor. What's y'all's pastor's name?
Terrell.
I'm just going to meditate on what he preached on and reading it over and over again. You probably will have part of it memorized before the end of the week, and it's just there, and it's in your heart and your mind, and I think you're in line with your own church, what your church is doing. Like think if everyone was doing that. Think about the conversations around people's dinner tables could be. Yeah, anyways, all I'd say,
he has a habit of reading like full books of the Bible,
like on a Sunday, he'll just read.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
He hasn't read Psalms on a Sunday.
not all the Psalms.
Oh, speaking of Psalms, we're talking about music and eventually bringing up Psalms. But that's another thing too, is that, okay, like on the Lord's Day, we would have had scripture read to us, and we probably more likely, if we were going to sing anything, by the time I'm talking about, there would have been choirs doing it for us. But I'd say when the church still was singing in them, we would have been singing the Psalms. So not only whatever Bible reading you would have taken, you would have already had scripture memorized, because you would have been singing the Psalms on the Lord's Day. And so then like that, whatever psalm or psalms that you sang that day, that's what you're singing when you're out in the field working, or when you're in the shop with your father or whoever it was. Like, that was the Bible intake on the Lord's Day should really not be like frowned. Like, I'm saying, like look down upon, like that now. That's not that important, because, I can read the Bible whenever I want to. Like, no, like really take Sunday seriously as to what you're ingesting. Because like that's what you can really carry with you throughout the entire week, especially like singing the Psalms.
You keep on saying the Lord's Day.
I do. So the Greek word when you read the New Testament, when they said they gathered on the Lord's Day, mm-hmm. I think that I believe they're genuinely referring to Sunday. That has become the new Sabbath. I believe that.
Were they Sabbathing on that day, or were they just gathering?
I think they were just gathering. I don't think they were. See, this is the weird thing about Acts. I think Acts is describing a lot of things, not necessarily prescribing a lot of things. Mm. I think Acts, you're seeing a 40-year transition period. It's like another wilderness period. I think there's, right, when we talk about no coincidences, I think there's not a coincidence that Jesus rises from the dead, and there happens to be this, in essence, 40-year period from his resurrection to the destruction of the temple, a 40-year period, right? Well, we think of 40 years, we think of the wilderness. So you're seeing this kind of transition, a leaving an old land, coming into a new land kind of thing. And so I think you're seeing a transition of God's people where they were still gathering at the temple on the Sabbath. But you do see this both happening thing where it's sorry.
Yeah. But they were using it to essentially separate themselves from.
I don't think they were doing it on purpose. I think theologically, I think they were doing both. I think they were gathering on the Sabbath, and they were already gathering on Sunday, because Jesus rose from the dead on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And if Jesus, with his resurrection, inaugurated a new creation, right? If there's a new creation, new Sabbath, right? Just with the first creation, there was a Sabbath. Now there's a new creation, new Sabbath. Okay. And I think that Sabbath is on the Sunday. And so you see the phrase, the Lord's Day, used in Acts, and then you see it used in Revelation. And the funny thing is, the Greek rendering of it, we change it in our Bibles and when we translate it to English, but based off, because the church was using the Septuagint at the time, right? So the Greek translation of the Old Testament, the day of the Lord's Day that's used in the New Testament, the Greek phrase, I don't know what it is exactly, but it's the exact same thing throughout all the prophets, the day of the Lord. Mm-hmm. It's the exact same rendering. So technically, Sunday can be referred to as the day of the Lord, which now theologically has huge implications when you think about all the days of the Lord happening in the Old Testament. right? Talk about how apocalyptic it sounds, like the moon melting, the sun, the mountains being scorched, yada yada. All of that cool apocalyptic language happens every single Sunday when we worship together. When you really and the apostles are doing that on purpose when they're talking about that we gather on the Lord's Day, or like I said, the Greek rendering is the same thing. We gather on the day of the Lord. So then Sunday becomes a day of judgment and salvation when we gather together as God's people, ruling and reigning on earth with King Jesus, right? The King of Kings, and we're the little kings underneath him. Sunday becomes this really apocalyptic, epic, wonderful thing that happens. And that's another thing is like what happens on Sunday is a huge deal. The scripture we read, the Psalms we sing, the bread and wine that we eat and drink, like this is apocalyptic in a sense. And I think we should make we should really enjoy that more. To think that like what just happens on Sunday isn't just it's not just this humdrum thing. It is the day of the Lord, where God comes in judgment and salvation. And guess what? He has poured out salvation on his church. But also, I mean, we're a witness to the world outside. Come be a part of this. But if you do not come and be a part of this, all that scary stuff that happens on the day of the Lord is going to happen to you. And so, anyways.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the angel of death passing over.
Kind of, yeah, in a sense. But our gathering together is, that's what it is. So next time, this Sunday is the day of the Lord. So when you read Job, find some of the Old Testament passages where it talks about the day of the Lord and all the cool, crazy, wicked stuff that happens. And you'll be like, that happens on Sunday? What? That's cool.
What about the music that we play on Sunday?
That is the question. So what you and I talked about when we were planning all this stuff, our church, and not just our church, but I think a lot of churches in general are finally kind of waking up to the reality that that the Psalms are a genuine musical genre that is being ignored. Which is just crazy because literally just even from a physical standpoint, if you open your Bible just straight to the middle, you're more than likely going to land in the Psalms. So it's like God has literally built in a hymn book into his word for us to sing, and we don't do it. And I think the reason we don't do it, I don't think it's from it's not from a, we don't want to, I think it's more from a place of ignorance. I think people don't know how to do it, and they've seen a lot of bad examples of people doing it, like a lot of bands like Poor Bishop Hooper or Bethel, or people will try to do they'll try to write psalms and they just come out really weird, which is understandable because the Psalms have a lot of weird content in it, which we theologically don't know how to make sense of. Like
they're putting the words to music.
Yeah. So Psalms. Okay. So what is singing the Psalms? It's taking the lyrics of the Psalter and putting it to music. Now, in the past, that was done pretty much in three different ways. Three ways that typical evangelical churches do not do now in general. And so I think because they already are disconnected from that, they don't know what to do with them. But the first way, this is not in order of how they happen. I'm just giving the examples. The first way and the easiest way is that the Psalms were put to meter. So like hymns, how hymns are. So pick a hymn tune, like Amazing Grace. Yeah. It's like, right. It has a whole tune, and then just and that line repeats itself.
Yes.
Take that tune, that meter, and now put the words of the Psalms onto them. And typically, because it's in meter, you have to change the words around a little bit so that it has rhythm and it can rhyme. Right. So Amazing Grace, here you can put Psalm 23 to it. The Lord's my shepherd, I'll not want. He makes me down to lie in pastures green. He leadeth me the quiet waters by. That's the most typical way. It's kind of based,
Come
right?
on,
That's kind of sick. Yeah, so you can sing, and there's so many like the 1650 Scottish Psalter has already done that, where all the Psalms have been put to a meter, and it's done. They try to line up with the King James as much as they can, because that's all they had. But yeah, so that's the first most normal way that most churches that do sing Psalms, they'll do it that way. So when you look at your hymnal, that's what it's gonna look like. It's gonna look like it's a bunch of hymns, but it's the Psalms.
Right.
The second way is the oldest way, and a lot of Lutheran churches or Anglican churches still do it, but chanting. So, and not chanting in the way we think of like like Gregorian, like it's not that.
Hit yourself with a plank of wood.
Yeah, it's and then bang yourself on the head. It's the main way to describe the difference. Singing in meter, you make the lyrics fit the music, right? That's what you do when you make it like a hymn. Chanting, you make the music fit the lyrics. So instead of the music driving it, when you're chanting, the lyrics drive it instead. So the music has to shape itself to whatever words you're singing. So like Psalm 2, let me see, I'll make sure I do this right. This is a very simple chant, but it's pretty cool. So why do nations conspire and the peoples murmur in vain against Yahweh and against his anointed one?
Oh man, I was taken back to Middle Earth right there.
Yeah, it is very like I said, that was a very simple tune. There are lots of better ones, some more that have more stanzas to them. But in essence, that's the main difference. Now, chanting seems very weird to us because we have an image in our mind what chanting is, but using the word chant doesn't help us either. But chant is just our English rendering of the French word chanter, which just means to sing. So chanting, really, chanter is just singing. That's all chanting is. It's just singing. It's just a very simple singing.
It's not necessarily a seance.
Yeah, it's not a seance. It's not. Yeah, you're not doing something. Yeah,
pentagram.
And nothing crazy. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, there are very beautiful chants. Our church, we do some chants, not as much as I would like to. But what's fun about chants is that they're very easy to learn. They're very easy for your children to learn them. And they end up being something like really cool. Like when we got here and your kids are playing with guns and like, they're like armored up and they're like hiding around corners.
They were toy guns.
Toy guns. But you know what I'm saying? Like, like what, just the normal mundane things, whether playing with toys or doing the dishes, where you can sit there and while you're doing whatever it is, and you can sing something. You can sing hymns, obviously, like, psalm renditions of the hymns, hymn rendition of the Psalms, but there's just something very beautiful in the simplicity of chanting. Like I said, it becomes lyrically driven,
and then you're memorizing the Psalms.
Exactly, you're memorizing the Psalms.
Yeah,
and so it's really sick. There's a lot. There's so, especially with YouTube and all that stuff now, you can find all this stuff and find really good versions of all of it. And
you can get AI versions.
You can get AI. You could probably like use Sora or whatever.
We're gonna be listening to that tomorrow in the office. Ben's gonna turn on some AI.
I'll send you guys
Psalm
some
chants.
I'll send you guys some Psalm chants. The Theopolis Institute has done a few of them. They're really good.
So that was the second.
That's the second way. The third way is kind of the newest way, but it is kind of making headway. A lot of people like the way it's done. It's called Through Composed. It's where it's in essence, if you look up David Erb, you're going to get a perfect example of this because he's written a whole album of this. But Through Composed, you pretty much are taking a whole psalm. He's done all his in pretty much New King James version, a few King James, but all New King James. But you take a full psalm and you pretty much write new music to the whole thing. It sounds more like a classical, I guess. But it can be very, very well done. And once again, you're memorizing scripture, especially a specific translation. So like if your church uses the New King James, David Erb's Psalms, like all his pieces are original pieces. And he's written over 50 Psalms, 50 of the 50 Psalms of the 150 to the New King James in this Through Composed fashion.
What's he waiting for?
To do the rest of them? I mean, like I said, he's written complete, original pieces of music, like really beautiful ones too. Like if you end up looking him up and listening to listen to the Psalms of Ascent that he's done.
Okay. And
they're really good. And what's neat is that he actually does kind of a hodgepodge where some of it will sound very much like a hymn, but then he actually will interject with lines of chants in the middle. Like the psalm may begin with a chant and then it becomes music, or music with a chant in the middle. Like it's really neat and really well done. And so in our circles, David Erb's Psalms have been a really kind of big deal. Like we sing Psalm 29 at our church, which is a version that he did.
Are you bumping this down the road?
You can. And I would say Christians, you have Christians, if you need some good Christian, you're talking about Bethel music, like there's a lot of bad Christian music out there, unless you like Bethel, but I don't like Bethel. But nonetheless, but whatever it is, there's a lot of, I think all Christians can agree that sometimes when you turn on the Christian radio stations, you're like, ugh, like, is this really all Christianity has to offer?
Right.
And it's not. Christianity, there are really good Christian artists out there that are trying to do good things. And Dr. David Erb has written 50 Psalms to music, and they're very beautiful. Not all of them are going to be like catchy the way you want to, but if you really just ingest it, like listen to it, while you're working or driving or whatever it is, you can really get, it could really be, I think, a blessing to your soul, really. So, but yeah, man. But anyways, this whole talking about the Psalms thing, the reason I wanted to bring up singing the Psalms is because, you guys probably heard about it growing up in Christian circles, the worship wars that happened. It's kind of been always going on, but late 80s into the 90s, there was this thing called the worship wars. And that's what it became was, with the rise of CCM, churches, fighting over what should we be singing in our churches. And you had a lot of churches on one side, they're like, we just need to be singing the good old hymns. The good old hymns is all we need. The old rugged cross, that's all it is. Mm-hmm. And then you had Christians over here like, oh, the hymns are kind of old and duddy, and like we should be singing like Bethel, Elevation, Hillsong, like all these really great, awesome kind of contemporary.
Not back in the 80s and 90s.
No, the 90s. But I'm saying, contemporary music was kind of contemporary Christian music was on the
Keith Green,
stuff like that. Yeah. So
and I wonder if that came out of the Jesus movement.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely. All these hippies, they infiltrated the church.
Infiltrated, man. That's what was the argument.
That's it.
So you had this worship. You had pretty much this worship war happening where you had two sides. People saying we just need to be singing hymns, and the other people saying, no, we should be singing contemporary music, and there was just this, no one was asking the obvious question like, okay, whether or not hymns are okay or whether or not CCM music is okay, can all Christians across the board agree that singing the Psalms is okay? And I highly doubt that you're going to meet a Christian out there that says, no, we should not be. Maybe they exist out there. But, I would like to assume that most Christians would be like, well, yeah, the Psalms are definitely.
But that's boring.
They would say it's boring, and it doesn't. And that's the thing, I would say it probably feels boring to some people because
I can't have a concert to the Psalms.
I can't have a. Yeah, it's true. But that's the other thing. Once it's like I said,
maybe that's the distinction that modern Christians need to wake up to the realization is that it's not really about you going in there feeling good. It's about directing worship back to God.
I don't even think that because you can feel good. You can be emotionally moved by the Psalms as much as any other book, any other song.
Yeah.
It's just, are you in that like mosh pit concert mode?
Yeah. And I think
you could get in the Psalms too. I'm sure.
I think so. And I'll say,
I've seen some Pentecostals.
I'm of the opinion, like, so talking about instrument, right? We're all with music, but like instruments, I know that's another big thing you kind of get. There's a Christian denomination, the RPCNA, which they are exclusive psalmists. They only sing the Psalms. They sing nothing else. No hymns, no contemporary music, only the Psalms. Specifically, they have their own version. They call it the Blue Book, and it's just it's all 150 Psalms put to like hymn style, so in meter. And but they also don't believe in instruments. They don't have instruments in worship, and I think that's kind of goofy. They
don't even have somebody on the keyboard setting
nothing. They have someone who does a little ooh, and then
Church for key.
Yeah, I think so. which I mean could really be argued like, oh, is that an instrument? It's you're blowing in something that's making noise.
It's a lyre.
God never said you had to be in tune.
No, what is a lyre? Right. Hold on.
A lyre?
It's a guitar, right? It's
like kind of like it's like a type of guitar.
Yeah.
But
flute.
But in my but you do have a lot of Christians, if they're not in the RPCNA, who still kind of like the idea of like, man, like if you have a good church that's just a cappella, and it is good, a cappella does sound good, but
you can sing.
But I am also, but like, I'm of the opinion we should have instruments in worship. But if we're gonna have instruments, I think we need all the instruments. Mm-hmm. I mean, I want like, don't give me just a guitar player up there. Give me 10 guitar players. Don't give me just a drummer. Give me like 10 drums. I want a full
loud church.
I want a full orchestra playing. I think if it's done right and well, it could be kind of concerty looking or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Is like, but it's still powerfully the Psalms are being sung. I think it could be just as powerful. But you're talking about the Psalms are boring. I think there's something to that.
Paraphrasing.
Yeah, but I think there's something to that. Sometimes like
quotes.
when you're praying the Psalms or reading the Psalms, you could feel really detached from them, and you're like, Edomites are not my enemies. Like I'm not, I am not hanging my lyre in Babylon, like hanging my head. I'm not wanting to dash children, But that's the thing is that from the new covenant standpoint, we do have to put categories to these things where they do take on new meanings. Mm-hmm. Where when you're reading the Psalms, The Psalms have a lot of enemies in them. And that's a category we're not used to because we don't think about having enemies here in America. But one, we do have enemies genuinely out there. God, those who hate Jesus Christ are by definition our enemies. Now we are to love them and pray for our enemies, but the Psalms also give us the room where we need to be praying against our enemies. We have to be doing both. But also, the Apostle Paul says that the world, our flesh, and the devil are who we wage war against. So when you're reading the Psalms and you're enemies with people groups that don't exist anymore, the reality is that you as a person in Jesus Christ, those Edomites or Moabites or whoever it is, whoever your enemies are, you can think of a plethora of your own sins that you are struggling with, and those are your enemies. And the Psalms give you the place where you can ask God to genuinely crush the jaws of my enemies, strike them on the cheekbones, right? Psalm 3. And I think we as a church, we don't sing those kinds of things.
So essentially you're proposing that in place of these named enemies throughout the Psalms, that we should infer and attach those to sins that we're dealing with on our day-to-day
I think
lives?
that is a way of applicating it. That's just one way. Like I said, I'm that's just pulling from the New Testament as the fact that, one, obviously we have enemies because Jesus tells us we have to pray for our enemies and pray for those who persecute us. So enemies, right? Christians are not without enemies. Jesus claims that we do have them, and so but I think those enemies take on different forms. Those enemies, like I said, Paul says the world, the flesh, and the devil are who we wage war against. And so there are genuinely world enemies out there. I may not know who they are, but we talk about conspiracy theories, those who are behind the shadows doing things, trying to manipulate the world and move the way they want to. Right. The Psalms give us the lyrics to sing against them, to ask God to genuinely bring down fire on their head, to it, have them fall into their own, right? I mean, talking about conspiracy theories about people who are doing things behind, mechanizations behind the closed doors to try to get it to catch us out. The Psalms are full of Psalms talking about let them fall into the net that they have cast. You know what I'm saying? That there's so literally, even against if there are crazy, conspiracy groups out there who are trying to control and pull the strings of all the world, God literally laughs at them. Psalm 2, right? Those who wage war against Yahweh and his anointed one, God ridicules them in laughter. Like God laughs at them. And he said, I have installed my king on Zion, my holy hill. So the Psalms, I feel like, just give us that place to sing things, because we're not singing them. Most songs we sing on Sundays are to make us feel good that Jesus has saved us from our sins, yada, yada. And that is good and wonderful and right. But like I said, when you look at the Psalms, the breadth of the things that God has us singing about, we're not singing about them. And I think we need to be. I think the church would be a lot more powerful if we were.
They're very specific. Mm-hmm. And if you look at a lot of modern praise worship, I'm quoting Don here too, who's been on the podcast a bunch, my father-in-law. Yeah. Where he always says, if you could be singing to Jesus or a beer bottle in your hand, it's probably not a great worship song. And a lot of them are that non-specific, where you could be singing about anything in the realm of like a savior or someone who but they're not like specific. There's not granular detail in them. Yeah. And it just feels so vague and kind of emotional.
Yeah. And like we talked about the last time I was on, it feels almost like blobby, like amorphic.
Well, but it's so like a lot of people can fit into it. Yeah. Like you can gather the largest audience because you're offending the least people.
And that's the thing is like, I'm of the opinion, we're not offending enough people. Now, I don't think it's the church's job to be offending people, but that's the thing is like, what happens on the day of the Lord is for us, is for God's people. I am not out here to placate anybody, to make you feel good about what we're doing here. Because if you're outside of
come as you are.
No, not come as you are. You're coming to King Jesus, who rose from the dead, ascended into heaven, and has a sword coming out of his mouth. Right? He is a loving savior, and that sword, right? The word of God is sharper than a two-edged sword, cutting between bone. What it says. That sword can be healing for you. It can be judgment. But Jesus is not going to like, oh, it's okay. Like, we'll sing better things. Like, I want as many people to come in here as we can. Like, no, like there is no come as you are. It is you come.
My response when people say come as you are, it's like, yes, but don't stay as you are.
Yeah, no, don't stay as you are. Yeah. And let's say anyone who's coming is going to come as they are, because Jesus is, I'm a Calvinist, Jesus is calling them to himself. And Jesus doesn't call people to clean themselves up and come to him. He has called, right? While we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. But like I said, what happens on the day of the Lord is not for the world. It is for us, right? We're the ones who gather to worship our Savior, to sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. We're the ones who sit down at a table together to eat bread and drink wine. And the same God who called us into worship is the same God who sends us out into the world, right? Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, right? What happens on the Lord's Day is for us and for us alone. Now, if anyone, right, the Spirit says at the end of Revelation, come, right? All you who are thirsty, come. All you who have no money for bread, come, right? There's an invitation to come, but you're coming to something. Right now, coming to some amorphic thing where we're not coming to you. That's the whole point, right? And I feel like a lot of churches set their worship up in that kind of sense of we're coming to you, right? Look what we changed for you to come in here. When it should be flipped around, saying, "Listen, you're more than welcome to come as you are, but you are coming to something. Something's happening here, and you either can be a part of it or you cannot be a part of it."
I'm gonna go ahead and take the third option here.
Okay,
third option.
Yeah, I think God can definitely work through modern worship, and with regards to where the modern church is with these more charismatic worship and things. I think that God can work through that. Just like we have, just the whole evolution of music from even Jubal inventing the lyre and the
flute,
right?
Lute. Into what we're using now,
the lute and the flute and the yeah.
Was it a lute?
Well, I'm post millennial, so I don't think we've made it with music. Like I don't think like we hit some peak in the 1800s and there's no getting better from here. I think I think modern Christian music is essential. I think it's a real thing, but it has to be done right. Obviously.
I think.
I think like everything, it's the intention in your heart. At the end of the day, if your intention when you're writing Christian music, a la South Park, is to just get famous.
Yeah,
then
it sounds like you're literally in love with Jesus. Are you not?
Versus like doing it for I guess true praise and worship reasons.
But I'm saying our generation, the simple fact that we're having this conversation and we're questioning that.
Yeah.
Right. Where the source of this worship music is coming from, whether it be Bethel music. Okay. What's actually within these lyrics? What's exactly the intent behind these lyrics? Right.
Sure.
The fact that we're at an age now that we should be probably pressing against legacy churches, if you will, to say, hey, no, let's steer this ship.
Yeah.
To something that's a little bit more meaningful, that's a little bit more in line with the scripture, and I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
I still want to leave room for definitely, God to work through that Bethel loving music that,
and I
it's
think
not my favorite. It's not my favorite, but.
And I want to be careful. Like, I'm not trying, I am not an exclusive psalmist or anything like that. Like, I don't think we should only be singing the Psalms. I just think the Psalms in general have been ignored. Like I said, I think for fair reasons, I think more of it comes from ignorance than anything. Like I said, I said, I want, especially, talking about, we were talking about Veni Veni Emmanuel, that was a hymn written in the 800s. Like, that's sick. Like I think we have such a treasure trove. Exactly, literally. Yeah. Christ has been ruling and reigning as our resurrected King for over 2,000 years. And the church has not been quiet for those 2,000 years. We have been doing a lot of singing. We have a lot of great music that if Bethel or Elevation or Hillsong were to pull from that treasure trove, and even, just to take to whether it be taking the lyrics or even just taking the tunes and all that kind of stuff and to revamp them and to bring them back and bring them into the 21st century, I'm not opposed to that. Now, I think Hillsong Bethlehem have some theological problems, but that's, that honestly, I think it's kind of an egg before the chicken situation. I'm like, man, like if you guys just started singing the Psalms more, like really kind of start taking something like that seriously, I think a lot of your theology would probably just kind of work itself out. Honestly, I think it would fix itself. Kind of one of those, like, it's, oh man, how do I love my wife more? By loving your wife more. Like, it's one of those like, man, Rob, I'm not good at praying, man. Like, what can I do to start praying better? Start praying more. Like, and it's a simple thing. It's definitely not overcomplicated. No, exactly. And so,
although we're sitting here trying to overcomplicate it and add layers to it, it has to be way more simpler.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, this is, we're looking at one specific thing of worship, and we're just looking at the music of it, where we might have to, it might be another podcast episode, but it's like, we have to pull back the curtains and really just ask the more genuine question, what is worship? Like, what is that? Like, how do we define? Because some people think worship is just singing, and but it's not that. I think it is, but that is one aspect of our
historically,
worship.
It's not that.
It's not that. It is some people would say that the Eucharist is worship, right? It is the, and I would say that is one as part of it, but worship in general, anyways, it's just it's a question worth asking. We're sitting here looking at just music, and I think music is a big important part. The fact that God would take people who are not the best singers, a lot of people are pretty tone deaf, and yet God commands them to, of all the things to do to give Him honor and glory, one of those many things, He says, I just want you to sing to me. And that's kind of wild to think about, The Almighty Triune God says, what would give me the most honor and glory? If you just open your mouth and
that was
fluctuated tone.
Was that not Lucifer's first role?
I don't actually believe that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't. I think that passage,
episode 2 coming up.
It could be. I think was it Isaiah 11 or 12 when it talks about, I saw Lucifer fall. You wanted to be God, but you were struck down or whatever it is. I think textually you cannot make that is not what's happening there. Literally the beginning of that passage and the verses immediately following that passage, it's talking about Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar is Lucifer. It's there black and white in the text, but a lot of pastors and theologians that I respect say that that's still referring to Satan. So, maybe I could be wrong, but I think contextually in Isaiah, wherever it's at, I forget where it's at in Isaiah, but literally the verses preceding it and the verses after it are, it makes it clear that Isaiah is talking to and referring to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. King Nebuchadnezzar is Lucifer. He is the one who exalted himself to the place of God, and God struck him down. So, but like I said, a lot of people I love and respect.
That was prophecy because Nebuchadnezzar would have been.
Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar had not fallen yet, but
wasn't even born yet.
No, I don't think so. I think when
Isaiah
lived.
Time, you still have Manasseh, who reigns for 55 years.
No, you're right. Yeah,
a number of kings after that. So Jeremiah. He would have been close to that. But it would have been a prophecy against, but that's just it. It's that chapter begins a prophecy concerning the king of Babylon and then lays it out. Like I said, it's pretty black and white. We are not talking about Satan. Yeah,
we
are talking about placement in the later prophets. Yeah. Major prophets. Well, it's not later actually, technically, but yeah.
So it's a I don't know. It's a weird thing, but sorry, I cut you off. You were talking about something. Satan singing or something like that.
He was like the light over the throne.
See, I don't know. I feel like it's like that's like Christian lore.
I always grew up with the understanding that
we've all heard that. But I'm saying just simple.
That he was the choir master and he led them astray with his music.
Yeah, see, that's just I feel like you can't. I think that's just Christian lore kind of built on like
I like that Christian lore.
I think I think it's a thing. I think talk about. So, okay, can I ask you something? You brought up earlier in, the episode you had with your dad and that guy at the 1611 museum. So are you a 1611 guy?
Yeah.
Okay. So you take
the Bible I read and use.
Sure. Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm as hardcore as they are.
Okay. But I'm saying, I guess you take the Apocrypha as
yes.
Okay.
I do.
Cool. I'm just wondering.
No follow-up?
No, because it's one of those things I do not know enough about it, but I'm obviously I don't read the Apocrypha. I have been under the impression of men that I've read, like men that I love and respect, that the Apocrypha actually is I think it is it is first level Pharisaism. I think these were I think a lot of these books were written by proto Pharisees, what would end up becoming the Pharisaical movement. I think a lot of these books are written by them. And those books were used to promote that. But I say that from a very ignorant place, someone who does not have enough. So I am more than willing to be made wrong about it.
My pushback is that the Apocrypha was in the Bible up until the late 1800s or the early 1800s.
And that's
like,
what
we didn't start removing it until then. It's in all your Catholic Bibles. It's in the 1611 King James. It's in Tyndale. It's in the Genevas.
But when you read
all of them.
No, I agree. They were there. But even with them being there, churches of the Reformation and their confessional documents were always at least clear to say that they saw those books as not inspired scripture, but saw them as supplemental, good for reading, good for history, and good for development. May bless you in the reading of them, may even grow from them. But there was at least during the Reformation, there was always a distinction made that these books are not holy scripture. Now, like I said, the theology, how they came to that being. But anyways, all to say, yes, I have no doubt. So that would have been like the 1500s. Starting in the 1500s. So
Luther. Because Luther had the Apocrypha.
So he does, but like the Book of Concord, so the Lutheran confessional document, they have a specific chapter to it. The Westminster Confession, which was for Presbyterians, has a chapter on the Apocrypha. The 39 Articles, so that's the Anglican Church. They also have which is a weird thing. Anglicans are weird because they make the distinction saying that it's not Holy Scripture, but when you read their lectionaries, they have apocryphal readings during certain days of the week, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a really weird thing where it's like we don't think it's Holy Scripture, but it definitely is like we're gonna put it in our lectionary. Like you should read it. So it's kind of a weird. They're definitely a weird thing. So like I said, I'm not anti-apocrypha. I'm just not convinced that of
Have you read it?
I've read the Maccabees. We had to read some of them when I was in Bible college, all that stuff. I think I remember reading Tobit. Which one has the dog in it?
The dog.
Yeah, there's like I think Tobit or Judith. One of them has a pet dog.
I don't recall.
Okay.
Tobit is the one with the fish and the weird kind of like almost seems like magic-y stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
With the casting out of spirits and the woman who had like married 7 men and each of them had died on their wedding day.
Oh, okay, yeah. And there's I've read some like Wisdom of Sirach. It's very like kind of proverbial kind of stuff, and
because there's wisdom. There's Wisdom of Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
There's Sirach, and then there's Ecclesiasticus.
Yeah, I've read. I think
First and Second Esdras. So like when you talk about the Apocrypha too, like okay, Enoch's in there. A lot of not in there. Enoch is not in there. A lot of people will assume it is. Right.
Yeah, it's not. Enoch is not. Enoch is not apocryphal. Enoch is pseudepigraphical. That's the distinction they make.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's a few.
I'm working my way through reading the Apocrypha. So it's a slow build. I'll jump back and forth.
Like I said, there's not necessarily anything wrong in it. I know a lot of people jump to like that's how the Catholics prove.
Yeah, I mean
purgatory, but
there's not a lot of doctrine in it like that. Like you can't find stuff that really contradicts the Bible. Like when I read it, I'm like it feels like it's in agreement with the rest of the Bible.
Yeah, and I think and from what I've even read, I think so
like
too.
You read Ecclesiasticus, it belongs right in there with Proverbs and.
I think. Like I said, this is from an place of ignorance.
I love how you just said that. When you read it, it doesn't feel like it contradicts the Bible. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
And I think for me, with my brain, when I read the Book of Enoch, I also
I don't agree out there. I feel like I'm like
I've never read.
So when I read Enoch, it feels like someone who's trying to prove a point backwards. Like they have this theology and like, okay, I'm going to write this thing that supports that theology and mesh it into what the Bible already says. That's what it feels like to me. Same thing with Book of Mormon. When I read the Book of Mormon, that's how that feels.
Yeah, the Book of Mormon is very much like like I'm trying to prove my validity. Same thing when you read the Quran. You get the exact same feels. It's very much like Muhammad is just trying to prove like, see, like look, I wrote about Moses and Abraham and Jesus. Like I'm obviously, this is just as real as the other stuff, and it's like it's not though. Very strange. Yeah, it's very, very. The Quran's very strange, man. And also, I think James White, he's another theologian out of Arizona, but he talks about I don't know if he said it or he was quoting someone talking about Jesus in the Quran. It says that the Jesus of the Quran is not a Jesus of history. What he means is that when you read any of the passages in the Quran that have Jesus in it, Jesus is not historically located somewhere doing something. Jesus is always just this talking head kind of figure proving Islamic doctrine. right? It's always Allah talking to Jesus saying,
Insert did we not, Jesus here.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, did I not tell you, or did I tell you to tell my people to worship you and Mary? Oh no, Allah, you never told me to do that. You told me to tell them to worship Allah alone and that God is not three. It's like Jesus is never like historically put somewhere. He's just a talking piece to prove Islamic doctrine. Like no matter where you read the Quran, except the one place where he talks about him making clay birds, which obviously came from an apocryphal, not apocryphal.
Clay birds.
Yeah, the pseudepigraph, the Gospel of James or whatever.
Shooting some pigeon
or pigeon, whatever it was. Yeah.
Clays? No,
okay.
Clay pigeons.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna accomplish all of that in this episode. That's for sure.
We've moved away from music. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. We're all over the place.
We kind of rolled around it. We rolled around.
So okay. So what do you guys sing at y'all's church?
I would say it's
and that's not coming from like a judgment. Like,
I don't actually know
guys
like
sing?
modern worship music because like we grew up on hymnals, so I'm kind of tuned out during worship service.
Do you not sing? Do you just kind of like? Do you just?
Yeah, kind of.
I've never seen Amos sing at church.
Okay,
he's not really moved in that way.
Not by that. Now you start playing some like "Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing," I'll get moved.
That's good. It's good. It's a good hymn.
I will say as of late they have been inserting a little bit more hymns, which is
and
cool.
Psalms too.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
See this. I would love to know who's doing the Psalms. Like I said, there's a lot of Christian artists who are doing renditions of Psalms, and they're kind of not good. Like it's like they think they have to put them in minor keys, or like or they have to really move them out, like make them really slow. It's just very strange. Or they take the lyrics of them and try to smooth out the rougher parts about like smashing my enemy's jaws and crushing babies' heads against stones and. That kind of stuff. And they're like, I
definitely have a more conspiratorial backing as to why modern Christian worship music
drop it on
doesn't really vibe with a lot of people. But I don't think we have time to get into it in this episode. So I think we should do a music part 2 for
That'd be sick, yeah.
For us to
bring Don in.
Oh, Don would love that. Yeah.
Okay, who's Don?
My father-in-law.
Okay, sick.
He's been a bass player for 40 years.
Yeah.
Longer than that probably. So like he has a lot of strong opinions about music.
Sick. That'd be awesome. That'd be cool. Love to ask him what he thinks about.
What do you guys sing at your church?
We have the hymnal we use is called The Treasury, and I wish I had brought it. It's so cool. It's pretty much it's split. The first half is the Psalms, and we pretty much we have at minimum at least 3 versions of each Psalm. So there's like 3 different Psalm 1s, 3 different Psalm 2s. Most of them are in the meter, like the hymns kind of style, but there are a few like chants in there and a few through composed. But then the rest of the hymnal is the hymns that are chosen are structured by our order of worship, our liturgy, which all churches have a liturgy. It's just some are more pronounced than others. Like I'm willing to bet you guys kind of do the same thing every single Sunday. Like say maybe more anyways. So we have our call to worship. It's like 5 C's, which is very Baptisty. But call to worship, consecration. Oh gosh.
And you're describing your liturgy at this point?
Yeah. But anyways, they pretty much all the hymns are picked in that like our call to worship. There'll be like 40 like kind of call to worship, and we're just kind of like just praise. And then there's consecration, then there's communion. I'm missing one. And then so we have a bunch of communion hymns, which is another thing too. We have so much good communion music, like music to be sung before, during, or even after communion. I think the church in general is just like totally missing out on like really good ones too. Like we sang one by Thomas Aquinas just this past Sunday, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's so beautiful. Anyways, and then commission, so like the sending out, so like kind of hymns be like, all right, go forth in battle, like onward Christian soldier, stand up for Jesus, like that kind of stuff. And then the very back we have it's like what's called service music, which because a lot of churches for the longest time, we kind of talked about this after we turned the cameras off last time, but churches up to a point, pretty much in the Reformation, which like I said, the Reformation wasn't all that great because we ended up stopping a lot of cool things. But most of the worship service would have been sung. The priest would have sung to you. The scripture would have been sung to you. You would have sang back, like the pastor, right? The Lord bless you and keep you. we would have like he would have sung that to you and you would have sung it back to him and the Lord bless you and keep you, like that kind of thing. Like we would have sang the Lord's Prayer. And so anyways, the very back of our hymnals, we have it's all service music and it's all a bunch of that stuff. Like how do we sing our prayer? We can sing the prayers. We can sing like responses because like we do confession. That's what I missed. We have a confession section, like so a bunch of like lamenting kind of hymns and psalms for confessing our sins. But anyways, stuff like that. So like responsive singing to like confessing our after we've confessed our sins. The pastor to assure us. The Lord bless you and guard you and make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. Like that. It's really cool stuff. But anyways, we use that. That's the hymnal we use. And all of our music in there. Our churches, we're singing fools, man. We end up singing like 8 hymns a Sunday. Hymns and psalms. I'm just hymns as the overarching umbrella. But yeah, we sing anything and everything. Like
Silly Songs with Larry?
Silly song, dude. Actually, we love Silly Songs with Larry, man.
Where's my hairbrush?
Yeah, dude, it's good. Gosh, I don't want to take you guys away from your church, but I'm telling you, man, you got to find a Sunday to come and worship with us just to.
No, I think, listen, the more and more we kind of explore this, what is a Christian? I think we're definitely, me personally, I feel that God created everybody so uniquely different.
Agreed.
And so what may work for somebody or somebody's family unit, with regards to worship specifically, because we're talking about music, may not work for other people.
No, I completely agree. And that's the thing. This is such an American thing too. Like if we all were to go to Nigeria, right? Nigeria, like worship would look so different for all of us. It would so yeah, once again, it's one of those things like, is there like, I think there is kind of like a bare bones definition as to like what worship should look like and be structured as. But I think the meat and flesh and organs is going to look very different. And I think that's okay. That's why when it talks about like with church history and stuff, talking about like exclusive psalmists, a lot of exclusive psalmists will argue like from church history that we, for the longest time, that was the only music the church was singing were psalms. And just one flip through of my hymnal proves otherwise, right? Because the hymn, typically when you look at a hymn, you can see the bottom, it will say who wrote the lyrics, who wrote the music, and it'll have a date. And sorry, buddy, for all my exclusive psalmists out there, that's just simply not true. The church has been writing music from the jump. Like we have hymns from the 200s, some hymns like that my church sings from the 200s, 300s, 500s, 800s. Like we, there was no, maybe some pockets of Christendom, maybe some churches over here, like in Egypt, were singing just psalms, but some churches up in Italy, had some hymns they were dropping out. Yeah. That's the thing. I think history is not as black and white as we want it to be.
In America being the ultimate melting pot, we have the pleasure of standing back and actually, putting somewhat of a magnifying glass on it.
Yeah.
Versus just not knowing any other way. And that is something that, we definitely take for granted.
Too many choices.
Too many choices. I think having too many choices and too many opinions about it. I think it's something. Genuine. I think like totally not music, but like Ryan and I were talking about it just this week in general. When 2020 happened, we swung so far, like as far as like being crunchy and the things like we eat and the type of medicine we take and going to the doctors, like at the government, everything.
Right.
And there came a point where there was genuine overload, where everyone and their mother had an opinion on the internet and was posing that opinion as if it was just the God honest truth and you've got to believe it. And it just like, it became so overwhelming. For example, it was like bread. It was like, one, don't eat just normal bread from the store because it's really bad for you. No. It's like, okay, well, what options do I have? Well, you got to bake your own bread. Okay. Well, it's got to be organic bread. And then it's got to be sourdough bread. And then if you're not milling your own, flour, it's not, it just, the hole just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And my wife was getting so overwhelmed by it, man, where I had to take a point and be like, listen, just because someone says something on the internet, right? We always heard that, like, well, it's on the internet, it must be true. But like, generally, man, especially now here, like, it's because someone says it with authority. And I think it's fact, it's like, you're hearing something that kind of goes against the natural grain of what you're used to hearing. I think our ears perk up to that. We're like, oh, that's so spicy and different. Oh, it must be true. And it's like, no, it doesn't have to be. Yeah.
It's algorithm feeding you.
Exactly, man. Yeah. And it's one of those like, it's like, it's okay.
God did not call us to be, flowing from woe to woe. He called us
flowing to and fro with every wind of doctrine.
Exactly.
And I think it's what it is. I think like people, and I was, I got caught up in it too, man. Like whatever it was.
Well, it's easy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, especially when the algorithm monster is just feeding you exactly what you want to see.
Except for this content, let this algorithm just soak right in.
It's just
on that note. Thanks for coming in, Rob.
Are we done, man? How long were we going?
Thanks, man.
We've
this is always a pleasure.
Limit.
This setup is way better, I think.
Oh, you like it? It's cozy?
Think it's cozy. I think it's cool. I think it's more chill. Yeah, I feel like the last time was so formal. I don't think there's anything wrong with it necessarily, but this is way more. Time flew. Like, dude, I felt like the last time, it generally felt like it took as long as we had taken. Yeah. But this time, I'm like, we've only been going an hour. But I'm like, oh, it's been 2 hours.
That's and the reason we started cutting it back a little bit, that way you can come back.
I want to come back, man. We could talk. We talk more music. We didn't get to. We talk about Christian heavy metal music.
I know.
What are you listening to right now? Before we end it, it doesn't even have to be Christian. What are you listening to?
What am I listening to?
Yeah.
Podcast. I've really over the last 5, 6, 7 years, I've gotten away from steadily listening to music. And I don't know where that stems from, because in my youth, you could not see me without, music either in my ear or in my room, and my parents banging on the door telling me to turn it down.
Yeah.
And so maybe it was my soul just kind of saying, hey, this isn't like edifying.
Okay.
And maybe and just subconsciously,
I
just kind of geared off towards.
I think the Spirit does. I think the Spirit does that, man. I think there are times where we drown ourselves out in something, and it's like, it's time to take a break from this. Not that it's sinful or wrong, but it's like I think you're done for a bit.
I mean, I'll dip into the good old classics, emo, screamo. I'll just type in like 2006 screamo, and just find a playlist, and I know that I know all the songs, and I'll just jam out to it, like when I'm mowing the grass or something. You know what I mean? Something like that. Or I'm not afraid to go a little John Mayer.
That's all right
with that little Kings of Leon.
Yeah,
stuff.
It's good, man.
I like the oldies too. Now I will say, a year and a half ago, I did have a little bit of a yacht rock kind of.
That's all right.
Awakening. We'll call it an awakening.
Yacht rock, is that like a form of like dad rock, kind of?
Yeah. I think dad rock,
like kind of like butt rock. Yeah, like what? Tell me.
Kenny Loggins.
Okay, yeah.
Kind of like oh gosh.
See, I would kind of make that like kind of like I would call it like college rock, kind of.
Hall & Oates.
Yeah. Yacht rock, is that what that's called?
Yes,
that's sick.
I mean, there's obviously way more artists that I'm not naming. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. I don't even.
Would Jack Johnson be considered like yacht rock?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, although he's newer.
Okay.
I would say that kind of falls in that. Dun, 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 dun.
What about you, man?
I've been listening to a lot less of everything.
Everything, just tuning out at all. You're like, I've ascended.
Ascended
past noise.
More like I just need to think more.
Yeah.
I need to like stop putting stuff in and start just doing stuff inside there, like not ruminating.
Just like, wow. I think you're right,
processing.
Man.
And that's probably why I go back to my default like old playlist, because I already know the songs, so that I'm not taking
something new in.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really think of
like I said, I have my playlist that I just play over there when I'm like writing or something. Sure. It's just background noise at that point.
Right.
Yeah. It just kind of keeps the mood flowing.
Yeah. No, I feel like talking about like, taking in new music. I mean, dude, I heard like whatever the last like, MTV Music Awards, I did not know a single artist that they had mentioned.
We're getting old, man.
I think so, man. I'm like, I don't know any of this.
We've turned that corner.
I feel that way about my haircut. I found the 2005 like faux hawk, and I've just I never looked back. I never looked back.
I think I've had the same one since 2007.
Yeah, me too.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the beard or the haircut?
The
head. Are you bald?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Why don't you have a hat every time we're hanging out?
Of course I do.
Okay. And maybe your beard distracts.
Code.
I look down. I never look up.
Yeah, that's funny.
I tell Ryan the moment I feel like I'm losing hair, I'm gonna shave it like yours.
Well, like we like to bring up on the podcast, we brought up last episode. We're hoping that this makes enough money. Pay me to go to Turkey and get some real hair plugs
by Babatuk.
Good toupee, man.
Even said I should just glue
it on, and then have a fan. So just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, it's gonna be good.